And we will start with Ms. O'Brien. You are recognized for 5 minutes.
Thank you to the chairman, thank you to the members of the committee, and of course, those who joined me in testifying. Back in 2005, CNN aired a piece on Lou Dobbs Tonight, reporting that the US had 7,000 new cases of leprosy in the previous 3 years because of unscreened illegal immigrants. That figure was completely false. Back then, the official leprosy statistics showed about 7,000 cases of leprosy over the last 30 years, not 3. But Dobbs' lie advanced his agenda of demonizing undocumented immigrants, so it stuck, and he got away with it. To those of us at CNN reporting on the communities that he degraded, it was disheartening and insulting, and it was also only the beginning. We had entered an era where broadcasters would begin repeating and re-energizing lies and liars, an era that would set the stage for xenophobic and racist narratives that would take hold and polarize this country. I've been a journalist for more than 30 years, reporting and anchoring for local TV, network news, cable, places like NBC, WBZ TV, HBO Real Sports, CNN, Hearst. I do a podcast on Quake Media, documentaries, series for my own production company. And so my point is that I have my feet very firmly planted on the media landscape, and this is what the landscape looks like to me. Media, disguised as journalism, has been spreading lies for years, elevating liars and using the ensuing slugfest to chase ratings, hits, subscriptions, advertisers, period, full stop. So how do we get here? Michael Rich, who is the CEO of the RAND Corporation, where I am honored to serve on the board, defines what happened as truth decay, the diminishing role of facts and analysis in public life, in important conversations about policy issues, policy decisions, and elections. And I believe this era of truth decay began when local newspapers were badly, even mortally wounded by the emergence of free social media and the decline of advertising dollars like classified ads. Our country has lost almost 2,100 papers since 2004. Local news is the heartbeat of American journalism, the glue of civic participation, the place where we turn to for information about our local taxes, quality education, infrastructure, and that demise left the public with only the unfiltered and unverified cauldron of presumed fact and opinion that is social media. The public turned to TV for traditional reporting, especially on politics, where 65% of Americans report trusting information from TV and radio, depending on whether the stations conform to their political leanings. But here's the problem. TV didn't fill the void of in-depth reporting on America's communities by producing stories about policies that affect regular people. Instead, it became a place where facts often go to die. TV, cable news in particular, relies on the cheap and easy booking of talking heads who exchange colorful barbs, entertaining outbursts, and sometimes peddle outright fiction. It's only gotten worse as reporters and anchors chase ratings, toss aside objectivity to divide us into false categories, I believe, of left and right, manipulating facts and debating the liars they booked for their very own shows. Today, viewers who come looking for information instead get enraging and contradictory facts from an endless churn of guests who are not in the least representative of the public. On Meet the Press, Face the Nation, and This Week, back in 2015, 80% of the guests were white, 12% were women, 2% were women of color, 41% were Republican, 22% were Democrats. All of this has eroded the public trust. 72% of Americans said they trusted the media back in 1976. By 2020, that number had fallen to 40%. So why did the media march down this road? Money. News organizations need cheap way to draw big ratings, and big ratings mean more ad dollars, and it's really just that simple. And when news organizations make decisions based on ratings rather than responsible reporting, disinformation flourishes in dangerous ways. Important conversations are clouded, scrutiny is reduced, trust in our institution erodes. So what to do about all this? Let me be clear that Congress cannot and should not regulate journalism in defiance of the First Amendment. But here's what we can do. Don't book liars or advance lies. Cover the fact that lies and propaganda are being disseminated, but do not book people to lie on your show because it elevates them and presents a lie as another side. Stop posing every story as having two sides. Some stories, in fact, have many, many sides and are more complicated. And also, lies don't have a side. Take the time to unravel and report and give history and context. We, as reporters, are verifiers. Every perspective does not deserve a platform. Media thrives on the open exchange of ideas, but that doesn't mean you have to book a neo-Nazi every time you book someone who is Jewish. Balance does not mean giving voice to liars, to bigots, and to kooks. Stop saying you want a diverse staff and go hire one fast. The public will trust you again if you tell the truth about who lives in this country and report accurately on communities. Recognize that objectivity means having an open mind, not a lack of judgment. If you do not call a lie or racism racism, you empower the liar, you empower the racist. Support efforts to challenge media that disseminates misinformation, particularly in vulnerable communities. And most importantly, support ground level reporting, journalism, the place, in fact, where major networks and cable news gets a lot of its best stories. America trusts the media to deliver accurate, factual, unbiased information. It's the grist of democracy. It's the stuff that enables us to have intelligent and accurate conversations with our neighbors, to cast informed votes and make thoughtful and intelligent decisions. Thank you very much.
Thanks. You talk about the weakening of journalistic standards throughout the media and the rise of anchors and commentators more intent on enraging their viewers than informing them. What's the danger when content is presented to viewers as news or as facts that really amounts to entertainment without a factual basis or any journalistic standards? Do you believe that this has exacerbated the pandemic, and do you think it helped foment the insurrectionist attack on January 6th?
I think you fail in your journalism when you do not actually do what the job is, which is to bring facts to people. And listen, first of all, I just want to say I'm incredibly proud to be a journalist. I work with many great colleagues, and there are many good news organizations, large and small, local TV stations, newspapers, big and small, and I'll name some of them. I think Report for America is quite good. Hechinger Report is quite good. ProPublica is quite good. They're elevating, and they are reporting, frankly, around the country. And I think probably the biggest issue is that there's just not enough of them, right? So when you have misinformation and when you have lies elevated, we talk about more speech and good speech and better speech. I think the actual conversation is about the risks of elevating lies. My conversation is about facts and lies. And so I think that you should not be allowed, and this should be through the news organization, should not want people to be on the air if they are in fact lying and they are liars. This should be because the news organization's values are to inform their public. Sometimes you get the sense that truth is unknowable. That is just not correct. I am advocating for good journalism. I am advocating for reporting, which is how we verify information. And we do not need to put people who are spreading misinformation on the air. And I think that is nothing that the Congress has to deal with. It is news organizations themselves who should hold themselves to this standard. It's a journalistic standard.
Right. Thank you. What about you, Ms. Bell? Do you have anything to add to that?